It's Monday, March 11th, and you're listening to The Geek at Geek News Central, the longest continuous running tech podcast. This is show number 842, sponsored in part by GoDaddy.com. Our March GoDaddy specials. Get GoDaddy hosting for $1 per month using promo code HOSTDEAL2. That's good for a whole year at $1 a month. GNC is also sponsored in part by DYN, Dine.com. Save 30% at Dine.com. Use the promo code podcast30. Hey, folks, got a great show lined up for you. It is absolutely crazy busy here. We'll talk about it in a few seconds. You know what comes next. Strap in. Here it comes.
All right, people, I need a go, no-go for the Geek News Central podcast. Digital archive recorders.
We're go flight.
Microphones.
We're go flight.
Video feed.
Go.
Web browser.
Go.
RSS data stream aggregator.
Go flight.
Interflux Toddism suppressor.
All right, I'm confused.
Host readiness check.
Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show.
Voice ready confirmed.
The Geek News Central podcast is a proud member of the Tech Podcast Network. If it's tech, it's here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are ready to go. Cue Todd in
5,
Button, who's got the button?
4,
There is no cause for alarm.
3,
Everybody hold on to something.
2,
Just press the button.
1.
Hello, hi, everyone, and welcome to Geek News Central, coming to you as live as it can be from the beautiful state of Hawaii via the Geek News Central studio overlooking Honolulu. Yeah, I was caught there as we came out of the intro because I forgot to start one of the screen capture systems. So, hey, I'm here with you, and I want to welcome you to the show. Of course, I want to give a warm welcome to all of the longtime listeners and viewers of the show. I want to thank you for being here. Of course, if you're new to the show, I want to thank you for being here for the first time and checking us out. And you can find a lot of information about the show by simply going over to geeknewscentral.com, checking out the website. And while you're over there, you're going to want to get subscribed to it. You can do that via the RSS feed or via iTunes. Sign up for the newsletter as well. That way you'll stay really connected with the show at all times. You'll never miss an episode. If you're on a iPhone app, it's real simple. All you have to do is click on the iTunes link, and you will basically automatically be put into the podcast app on your iOS device. And that way, it really makes it easy to subscribe. And if you haven't downloaded that app before, it will actually prompt you to download it, and that's a way to get connected with the show. I want to give a shout out to Dana, a new listener of the show. She is a friend of mine for many, many years. And she said to me when I was on this last trip, she says, "How do I listen to your show?" And I did just that. I went over and hooked her up, got it set up so that she could be tuned in. And I want to welcome her to the listening audience. And so hopefully she was listening this episode. We'll find out next time I see her here, probably in a couple of weeks. All right. Boy, busy. Crazy busy. To the point where as soon as this show gets done tonight, I probably got 3 to 4 hours worth of work to do proposals, ad proposal. I mean, it's when it rains, it pours. And I'm really excited with some upcoming projects we've got in play. If it all comes through and we basically sign all the clients that are on the potential sign list, it's going to make for some pretty incredible announcements in the coming weeks. But we'll let you know about that. And I am like slow on the ball tonight. For those of you that are watching the show, I apologize for not flipping you back there. But hey, you can contact me anytime, really easy, on Twitter @GeekNews. Email address is geeknews@gmail.com. And, of course, the hotline is available at 619-342-7365. Got a bunch of inputs on the Roku contest. We're going to give away that Roku here in just a few minutes, so stand by on that. But we're up on all the streams tonight. We're up on Livestream. We're up on Ustream. We're up on the ad-free stream at Geek News Central. And we hope that you are catching the show live. Again, if you don't catch it live, don't worry. You can watch us on the Roku, Boxy, Samsung Smart TV, and Google TV. And that new Roku, It's fast. If you haven't upgraded, if you're on a Roku 1 or a Roku 2, you're going to want to pick up that Roku 3. It really is quick, and I was just pretty shocked by the performance increase on it. And at $99, you really just can't go wrong. And the lineup is fantastic. I loaded Netflix, HBO Go, loaded, don't have a Hulu subscription anymore, Pandora. And so it's just like all the stuff that we have available to view on that is absolutely fantastic. So definitely check that out. So, of course, I'm going to give a warm welcome to GoDaddy here for being a longtime sponsor at Geek News Central. And GoDaddy's, boy, I tell you, they really hit it all the ballpark this month by offering up the $1 a month hosting for 12 months by using the promo code HOSTDEAL2. This is on new plans only. And the 35% off your total order on new products and services, go 35 off too. So, again, that offer did change a little bit on the 35% offer. Again, 35% off your total order on new products, go 35 off too. And, of course, all the codes at geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. We have a basically full lineup of codes for you. Everything that you can possibly imagine is there. We've got 10% off. We've got $7.99.coms, $8.49.com renewals. We got $5, $10, and $20 off your order. $12.99 SSL certificates. We've got 15% off on an order, $20 or more, 20% off on a 1-year shared hosting accounts, on and on and on. Lots of codes for you to use, and we want to thank GoDaddy for being a longtime sponsor here at Geek News Central. And definitely, again, all you got to do to get access to those codes, and let's see if I can actually flip the right button here, title. There we go. geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy for all your promo codes. Hey, one thing I want to remind you folks is that it is possible to listen to this show on Stitcher. If you haven't, if you have Stitcher loaded on your mobile device, definitely subscribe to the show. I have a link to the Geek News Central listing on Stitcher, so go grab it, listen to it, and help us out in getting build audience over there as well. So we want to thank those of you that are listening to the show on Stitcher. All right, let's see here. As you guys can tell, I'm kind of giddy tonight. It's been a whirlwind of just craziness. I'm not kidding. To the point, it's just like, what is going on? And so tonight I'm a little bit punchy. I apologize on that in advance, but it should be a good show just because I'm in this mood. So let me go ahead here and give away the Roku. And let's see here. We got randomizer loaded. And how many total entries did we have? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. How many we had? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 entries. I think that was all of them. Okay, so 15 people responded to the email for a Roku 3. That's pretty good odds. And considering that, oh, wait, 16. So let me put this in here. And let me hit randomize. Da-ding. All right. Our winner of a Roku is Dino. Or Now? Dino at... Anyway, Dino, you are the winner. And one of the things that Dino said in his email, we'll read all the emails at the end of the show. He says, I enjoyed the range of topics as well as the rants about the many issues in the industry. Also, unlike other shows with multiple host guests, there isn't a lot of babbling, inside jokes, or gossip. The show is to the point about what's going on in tech and doesn't drift off topic, nor ever overkills a topic. 2 GNC shows a week is also great. Again, Dino, congratulations on that. And his winning came in actually today at 12:50 in the morning. So congratulations, he wins a Roku 3. All right, let's go ahead and let me look at my list here. Chrome Show relaunch with Gary Leland on April 1st. So looking forward to having Gary starting producing the Chrome Show. He's down in Austin at South by Southwest. So looking forward to have Gary on. We may have Gary on beforehand, before we get started with the relaunch of the show, and do that probably on a Saturday morning tech. We did have a Saturday morning tech this past Saturday. Had a little problem with the video recording. Had to downgrade my Blackmagic Design H.264 video capture. Now, it was all good on the TriCaster, so I brought that over and actually used that one as the master, but just ran out of time and then noticed I hadn't published the show up. So I punched it up about 45 minutes ago. So yesterday's show was put up tonight. So again, Saturday morning tech is available. We had a great show, and we talked with James from Cairo.com, K-I-R-O radio, CairoRadio.com. And they're a radio station up in Seattle that also does, it's basically talk, sports, and they do all of their content is actually turned into podcasts as well. So it was a really cool discussion. They're doing some unique things. So definitely listen to the morning tech show that was actually on Sunday versus Saturday. So that was up and busy. Again, crazy busy here to the point of, wow, really, it's been a crazy couple of days. Flew back on Saturday and was in San Francisco. Had caught a flight down, and basically I was standing in line, and this guy comes up to me and he says, "Hey Todd, how you doing?" And looked at him and says, "I'm a fan of the show. You don't know me, but I know you." And it was pretty cool. It's kind of cool to run into fans of the show like that. But he was headed to Hawaii as well, so we got a little bit of time to chat on the airplane. So I want to give a shout out to Tim, and thanks Tim for having a nice chat while we were coming across the pond Saturday morning, getting back into to Honolulu. All right, so let me just give you a real quick rundown of the schedule. 2 shows here this week. Then I fly out Saturday night to go to Indianapolis, and I'll be down there for a week, actually going to Bloomington. So if any of you are in Bloomington, in and around the Bloomington area, I'll definitely do a meetup. If there's any interest in the Bloomington area during that week, and then probably a meetup in Indy. Anyone that wants to do a meetup in Indianapolis on Friday. So that would be Friday the 22nd. And then I fly back to Honolulu on the 23rd. And I think I don't know what my schedule is. It's that kind of crazy. So we'll just play it by ear. But 2 shows here in the studio this week. And again, 2 shows back on the road next week from Bloomington, Indiana, and going down to the university to work with some folks down there. All right, so let's go ahead and I think that's it in my stack. And let me go ahead and save and close that. We'll take care of our last piece of business here, then we'll get into the regular content tonight. Dyn.com. If you want faster internet, if you want your website to load quicker and you want to make sure that your DNS provider does not go down, or if you have a secondary route to your website, this is where Dyn.com comes in with outsourced DNS. You can make sure people can get to your website at all times. With managed DNS, you can even connect items like your webcams to a DVR to a private channel, and then you can pull from at any time. For business email delivery, when it's critical, count on Dyn. If your business relies on that contact list of yours, then Dyn's email solutions can get your message to clients and customers. You can secure email, bulk email, and set up high-volume mailboxes right on Dyn's delivery service. Most important, they're in the middle of the switch. Basically, everyone's in the middle of the switch to IPv6. Dyn's ahead of the game on this and has a complete support for IPv6. And it's simple. Get faster internet by using Dyn for DNS. Simply visit Dyn.com/podcast30, fill out the contact form, or start shopping right away and save 30% by using the promo code podcast30 at checkout. Once again, visit dine.com/podcast30. And I tell you, their products and services are fantastic. Their DNS stuff is just incredible. Pricing starts at $20 per year, all the way up to $200 per month. So there's a plan there for everyone, for every business. The email services as well. Pricing starting at $19.95 a year, up to $200 per month for their email sending product, and their email receiving products are at a maximum $49.95 a year. So definitely check out Dine.com and check out their products and services. They were down at South by Southwest, and I know that Jeffrey Powers at Geekazine did an interview with them. So I'm looking forward to getting that interview back and being able to share that with you guys. But anyway, thanks Dine.com for being sponsor here at Geek News Central. Want to say hello to Dale, Spitballs, Jetstream. Hey guys, welcome to the chat room tonight, and welcome to the show. All right, let's go ahead and get into the full-blown content that I have in the stack today. Kind of a weird day for news. I'm going to be straight up. When I was going through the news today, I was kind of like, man, it's just kind of weird. Just an eclectic group of, there was nothing super big. There wasn't anything super small, but just kind of this weird mix. But as expected, the Prenda Law situation, for just a lack of a better word, was full of comedy today. And there is obviously some people that are going to be in deep trouble. Essentially what has happened, the judge has blasted these porn trolls, and he basically said someone has an awful lot to hide. And Judge Wright had ordered 6 of the Prenda affiliates to show up in response to his order regarding possible sanctions for their behavior. And none of those named parties, none of them showed up to the hearing in person, apart from Alan Cooper from Minnesota. Of course, Cooper has alleged that Prenda attorney John Steele used Cooper's name improperly as the CEO of copyright licensing firm AF Holdings. Lawyer Steele, Paul Hansmeyer, Paul Duffy, and Prenda legal paralegal Angela Van Den Heimel had filed a notice on Friday saying that travel to the Central District of California was impossible. And so the only person that showed up was Gibbs. And Gibbs wore a very solemn face through the testimony, and his lawyers did their best to present an ignorant man to the court. In some respects, this guy basically said, I was just their secretary. I didn't know what was going on. And the judge had asked his attorney if his client had a hold harmless agreement, and his attorney said that Gibbs did not. And Gibbs was taken to task by the judge about his failure to disclose notice of related cases each time he filed a complaint against the John or Jane Does. And the judge basically said, why is it that in every single one of these cases there's no notice of related cases? The judge fired off. And basically the attorney's response was, the downloads are done by separate infringers, and while plaintiffs are largely the same, perhaps it was an error, Your Honor. So new to the scene was AT&T and Verizon. Verizon filed a brief saying it was never told that the judge had shut down Prenda's discovery efforts, even though they had provided information back to Prenda. And the AT&T lawyer also took the stand to say, too, that it was never notified of canceled subpoenas, but AT&T didn't serve the names to Prenda, unlike Verizon, because it found the order to vacate while an employee was looking through documents on the federal court's PACER system. So obviously, these guys fed data, these companies, Verizon specifically, fed data back to Prenda after the order had been vacated. The guy that basically said, I'm being impersonated, he showed up, and the judge basically quizzed him down. So there was no sanctions in today's hearings, but the judge was very displeased with Gibbs and other Prenda affiliates, and the hearing lasted like 3 hours, and the judge finally adjourned, saying he had heard enough. It's impossible to tell what the court will do, but the judge seems pretty upset about the obfuscation of Steele Hansmeier rather than the work of Gibbs, and so basically they are in the hot seat here. But this is probably will go down in the history of basically copyright trolls, being one of the most remarkable hearings really that has ever surfaced. There was 42 people in the courtroom, not counting the lawyers for the people that were basically present. The judge basically had said that he'd spent the whole weekend reading a disposition, referring to the astounding deposition of Prenda Principal Paul Hansmeier. And he says, and this is kind of funny, it is perhaps the most informative thing I have read in this affair so far. And basically, it wasn't said in a nice way. And there was a gasp within the actual audience itself. And but really, this thing was a big show and tell with a lot of not show, but there's a lot of stuff being told, and it's just crazy. And this guy Brett Gibbs, in my opinion, he's gonna get whacked by this judge. And in real life, people in the audience in court proceedings do not spring up to make dramatic revelations because that gets you arrested. But today it happened just after Gibbs testified that he had only limited responsible for AF Holdings. An attorney in the audience stood and asked to be heard. So you're like, he's sitting in the audience and he stands up to be heard. In a normal court of law, the judge is going to just like, boom, 12-gauge shotgun at this guy. And the judge asked who he was and what he wanted, and he didn't identify himself as attorney for Paul Godfred, who in turn is Alan Cooper's attorney. Gibbs said he had spoke with him in November 2012 and represented himself as a national counsel for AF Holdings, one of the Prenda Law clients. Wright shook his head. He said, "Have you noticed," he said in rhetorical terms, "that every representative made by a lawyer with Prenda Law, every representation made by a lawyer with Prenda Law is not true?" So, boy, oh boy, oh boy. You guys just got to read this stuff. And if you get into this, and maybe many of you don't, but what it just goes to show you, in my opinion, these guys are a big bunch of scam artists that all they're doing is they're using the law, the copyright law, and abusing it and extorting money, in my opinion, extorting money in ways that would make the mob look friendly. And that's my opinion on Prenda. And it's incredible. Now, Electronic Frontier Foundation has entered the fray, and they're going to be defending the bloggers sued by Prenda Law Firm. Prenda, basically oblivious to such well-known legal niceties as the federal rules of civil procedures. Basically, the EFF is going to go out and protect these guys, a.k.a. for their First Amendment rights. And so we'll see if these lawyers get into more hot water for going after these, these bloggers. So it's cool that the EFF has stepped in. Now, getting even more crazy is another guy in Minnesota has now accused this troll firm, Prenda Law, in my opinion, of using his identity without his knowledge or permission. And so here we got another guy that's name is, quote unquote, supposedly on a business he says he knows nothing about, but yet he's been listed as the principal. I can tell you what, all you have to do is just throw a John Smith on the table or a Tom Jones or, any other common name in America. And you too may end up being an owner in some company that you don't even know about. But this is just, it's just bizarre. Shell games, make new holding companies, cover things up, try to have such a paper trail that no one can find out who really is behind something. And it's incredible. I hope these guys all go to jail. Okay. See, who is that? MMO Reporter. Welcome to the show as well. In the chat room tonight. You guys are up late, yeah? The time change. Nothing changes here in Hawaii, but the time changes back in the mainland. Now we're 6 hours from the East Coast. I really hate it when it's this time of year in through the summer months, because basically my day starts earlier due to having to deal with people on the East Coast. It's in the winter months, we're only 5 hours. Now it's 6, so 6 hours to the East Coast, and I just have to completely rewire my brain and start my days at 4 a.m. instead of 5 a.m. Hey, let's talk a little bit about what's going on Mars. NASA is going to be applying 2 software patches to Curiosity rover. Of course, we know that earlier this month, NASA's Curiosity had a major malfunction with one of its onboard computers, and they've been running in the B side. So they're going to upload some stuff into A. They've already overwritten the memory where there was issues with. And they feel like they're probably a couple days away from getting back to doing full science again. But we know that Curiosity was put to sleep on March 6th after basically was trying to protect itself from incoming solar flare. So that all went well, and I guess they've made great strides. And, of course, the folks over at JPL and NASA, I have no doubt, will get Curiosity back up on its legs and running well. NASA, at the same time, wants a new space net to sustain big data dumps from Moon and Mars trips. And so basically they've got an RFP out. So they really want to have people start issuing, basically providing information on what will happen for a new network architecture. So that's pretty cool. So this request for information begins that planning and probably ultimately in a contract for new space vehicles and ground support stuff. All right, a couple of articles. Actually, the Geek News Central team has been taking a little bit of a welcome breather from doing all the stuff that we had shoved at them in January and February. So the posting's been a little bit slower on Geek News Central, but one of the articles today posted up by Alan was Rovio teases Angry Bird cartoons, announces 1.7 billion downloads. So this is pretty incredible. With Rovio Entertainment bringing in its weekly Angry Bird Tunes animated series to fans around the world, is basically launching a video distribution channel across all of its Angry Bird game titles on the smartphones and tablets. And these new animated videos will be available beginning the week of March 16th and 17th. So everyone that's got a Angry Birds app will likely be able to get access to these animated clips within the app here pretty soon. So, but 1.7 billion downloads of its games. That's just an incredible number. And you think about, what are most of the games? 99 cents, $1. And they've made some huge money. Well, I've been waiting finally for the news to pop of what was going on in South by Southwest. And finally, I think the guys have quit drinking and they're actually starting to put some news out. And I think the one portion of the event is starting to roll down. The interactive stuff is starting to slow down. But there was, lots of gimmicks going on at the show. Vehicles dressed up as puppies, people walking around with, I don't even know what that is. Flickr representative lets you take a photo in the Flickr filter. Okay, and upload the app. Okay, that's kind of weird. Glow-in-the-dark drinks. Hootsuite put together an owl bus and had it rolling through town. That's just bizarre. AT&T provided colorful charging lockers for you to hook up your devices. The highlight guys were giving popsicles, and this guy that's handing out popsicles, I'm sorry, they could have picked a better representative. Is he trying to be a hipster or what? But he's got this blue highlight shirt, these Elvis style sunglasses, and a traditional hot dog stand type of guy hat he's wearing. Kind of weird. The Google debuted a talking basketball sneakers at South by, and of course there was a dude walking around basically with question marks on him. I think I've seen him on TVs before. Actually, he is an infomercial guy, so this guy's got the big question marks all over his body or on his clothes. Dogs with suits. Some people rented fire trucks. Life Fire rented a fire truck. Tricycles, you name it. So all the cool kids that went to South by Southwest got to see all this cool, wacky stuff. The question is, did any of them make connections that will end up in business deals? That's the question I have. South by Southwest is a haven for marketers and advertisers looking to make people more aware of their companies and products. And so this is what they're doing. They're marketing to these folks that are at this show. I love to go party at South by, but the cost of everything is incredible. And it's more expensive than CES now. I think the all-inclusive pass is like $1,700, $400 or $500 a night for a hotel room, endless lines. And then you come home and you get the credit card bill. You got $10,000 on the credit card, and you have to justify the actual, what did I spend and what did I get back? And, one's got to weigh a little, one that you get back is supposed to weigh more, but it's not the case. Hey, every time I go overseas, I always rent a phone, and I usually pick it up at the airport that I land in. When I go to Japan and I land in Naha, I usually grab a phone right there at the airport. But now if you go into Hong Kong, they've got an amazing deal, $8.75 daily phone rentals, has unlimited voice, text, and 3G. This is incredible. So here's the deal. What you do is you get the phone, and even though you can only make local calls, you drop Skype on the thing right away. And then, boom, you've got a full accessibility to make international calls. And they do include international calls to 17 countries. But, definitely cheaper than having your phone in country. And I always take mine with me, but I shut it off and turn off the data service and so forth. But, handy preloads like Skype and Kayak, Xe's currency converter, BBC News, and more all are already on the phone. So this is pretty cool. $8.75 in Hong Kong. When you travel international, sometimes it's just better to rent the phone from the airport. Hey, Netflix has launched a global ISP speed index. And boy, I tell you, if anyone knows how well media is being delivered, the folks at Netflix should have a pretty good handle on this. The folks at GigaOM have got the coverage on this. And so here's an interesting deal. Monday aggregated performance results from its 33 million worldwide customers in one place, and allowing users to see which ISP offers the best Netflix performance in their specific country. So the United States currently is leading the pack, but the only reason the United States came in first is because Netflix included Google Fiber in its results for those few actual customers who saw an average Netflix speed of 3.35 megabits per second in February. Second is the UK, where Virgin customers averaged 2.37 during the same month. At the bottom of the list is Mexico, where the fastest ISP averaged 2.10 megs per second. So just gives you a little clue, and it gives you insight into how media is being delivered via Netflix and across the different providers. Hey, again, tonight, if you have comments on tonight's show, @Geek News is the Twitter account. geeknews@gmail.com is a place to drop me an email. And, of course, you can always use the voicemail hotline at 619-342-7365. Google has revealed some glass apps at South by. So, I think we're all watching the Google Project Glass, and I can't wait. And I will spend the $1,500 or $1,600 and probably be disappointed with these things when they're available. But they showed off some apps today, and basically Glass lets you post photos to Sketch, Evernote, and Path with a few taps. They've got a Gmail type of interface where you have important emails come in. It kind of shows you the subject line and maybe the first sentence of the email. So there's, they're starting to break out and show you some of the functionality. And those were all demos Google had. But, I think that should get people thinking a little bit about what's going on. We know that, by taking pictures and doing video, all that stuff is going to be cool. But what else is going to be possible? And I think, maps and the eyepiece and stuff is going to be good as well. Only time will tell. But really, there was, The Verge covered this, and this is the only place that I saw this. I wonder if they had a little private event, invitation only, that was at South by. I don't know, because it really didn't get too much coverage anywhere else. Hey, the folks over at TechCrunch are reporting that Nielsen is saying that the number of households in America that are basically have cut the cord, are basically, they define it as zero TV households, are now at 5 million, up from just 3 million in 2007, but still just 5% of the market. So the zero TV household is a definition which refers to those who no longer watch traditional television offered by cable or satellite providers, but who tend to stream video online via computers, smartphones, or tablets. So again, this is a largely TV-less household, and we know this is a very small slice of the market, but still, 5% with no TV, that's pretty big. Now, they're saying 5% of the homes don't fit. Let's see here. 5% of the homes don't fit Nielsen's standard definition of a TV home. Let me look here. So, okay, of those homes, they get their content on other devices. 37% via computers, 16% via the internet, 8% via smartphones, 6% via tablets. And it breaks it down into age groups. And which is really surprising here is the number of zero TV. Well, not really. The number of zero TV homes age group is the largest in the 25 to 34 range. Under 25 is 19%. 35 to 44 years old is 21%. And as I would expect, 45 and above is about 14% each 10-year category. So that's really huge. Now, if they break it down into those that have kids, the majority that don't have kids, 80.9%, were the ones that were TV-less. And the number of folks that lived alone were about 41 to 58, so not really a big deal there. But the largest number of people that are obviously basically being TV-less is the Caucasian, followed by Asian at 10.1, Black 9.5, and Hispanic at 8.4 as a total percentage of people that actually are quote-unquote zero TV, according to Nielsen. So kind of an interesting move here. We'll see where this goes. And I love it, where cord cutters are still starting to make some headroads here. That's got to have the TV people scared, no matter what. Now, I had to laugh today because the White House demands China stops hacking into U.S. companies. So Tom Donilon, the president's national security advisor, urged China on Monday to stop hackers from breaking into U.S. computer systems and stealing business secrets. The comments are the administration's most direct response yet to Chinese cyber spying. Donilon said U.S. officials have urged China to recognize the urgency and scope of the problem to take serious steps to stop hackers. He said the Chinese government should engage in a dialogue to establish acceptable rules of behavior in cyberspace. He says from the president on down, this has become a key point of concern in discussions with China at all levels of our government. Now, here's the funny part. Donilon did not directly accuse the Chinese government of launching attacks on U.S. computer systems. Why not? Why didn't you? You say, we know this traffic's coming from you. Stop. Only noting that the attacks are coming from inside the country. They don't want to say, oh, your government's doing this. So, of course, China's doing this. We're innocent. We're innocent. We don't do anything. Okay, whatever. So, that's what's happening on the Hill. I'm sure in one ear, right out the other. a good article on the security ledger talking about how watering holes, net domain dots, basically going to websites where a lot of folks go to, a lot of techies go to, these watering holes that geeks and hackers and developers all basically visit were targets in the hacks that netted Facebook, Twitter, and Apple, basically getting their systems broke into. A large number of companies fell to this as well, not so heavily publicized, but anyway, these websites, a number of them, and they haven't announced all of the websites that were involved, but a large number of developer websites, as we talked about before, got hacked. And there's a little more detail now in this article, so I'll have that linked up in the show notes for you. All right, Microsoft is enabling Flash by default in Internet Explorer 10 starting on March 12th. That's tomorrow. So they've announced that it will permit Flash content to run by default in both Windows RT and Windows 8 beginning tomorrow. Until now, compatibility in Internet Explorer 10 has been limited to a select number of sites whitelisted by Microsoft. Windows 8's traditional desktop mode has offered full Flash support from the get-go, but moving forward and after users apply a software update, the inverse will be true. Apparently, Microsoft here has concluded that web developers have made sufficient progress in bringing touch interactivity to Flash content. So we'll see how this goes. They say the company says a small number of Flash-based sites that don't meet its criteria will continue to be blocked, which is kind of an interesting move here. Now, one of those websites that will be included in a compatibility view list as well. So very interesting what Microsoft's doing there and making the change. All right, have you got a kid going off to college? Listen. Students get half year free of Office 365 and 20 gigs of storage from Microsoft. So those who are in possession of a .edu email address are able to gain 3 months of free access to Office 365. But for folks who decide to spread the word by sharing the offer on Facebook after entering an email address on officeforstudents.com, they'll benefit from an additional 3 months of free access. But what they're going to do is they're going to give up to 4 years of cloud-based subscription to Word, Excel, PowerPoint, OneNote, Outlook, Publisher, and Access for just under $80, $79.99. So I'm going to tell you, for 4 years, for $79.99, you got a kid going to school, sounds like a deal. It really does. It really does. Sounds like a really good deal. So anyway, that's available for students. All right, Samsung shows Galaxy S4 teaser. Let me show you this. Those of you who've been waiting for this phone, I know you're just chomping at the bit to get a look at this thing and get your hands on it. So with just 3 days to go until Samsung's Unpacked event, the company posted a teaser of what is presumably the Galaxy S4. There's a little bit gleam from the image, and it shows the phone's front right panel. But March 14th is the date. Samsung Galaxy S4 will be revealed. I tell you, you have to admit, they've done a good job in building hype up until this release. And if I must say so myself, we've kind of outdone Apple a little bit in the drama department as well when it comes to the upcoming release of this new phone. Makes me want to go out and grab one. All right, cloning. Yes, you know we're cloning animals. You guys knew that, right? Well, researchers are using clones to make clones thanks to a breakthrough technique. So a technique that makes clones 5 times more successful than previous efforts has been developed by biologists in Japan. Why am I not surprised? The researchers build off the same techniques that has been used to create Dolly the sheep, who in 1996 was the first clone mammal. However, the method used to create Dolly had a low success rate, and cloning an animal based off of another clone often fails. But the new technique begins cell growth in a solution that prohibits enzymes that alter DNA, thus preventing genetic abnormalities that might occur and make experiments fail. So this is kind of a cool thing. Clone me. Insert brain. If they could just transfer, I'd be like, dude, you need to go do this, this, and this, and I'll take care of that. But then again, my clone would be like, dude, you need to do this and this and this. So how does that work? um, you go take care of the honey-do list. I'll take care of the office work. Or you get into argument with your clone on who's going to do what. Yeah, it'd be a little crazy, wouldn't it? I think there was a movie on that at one time. They end up like killing each other or something. SpaceX reusable rocket completes a short controlled flight. And it's got a pretty cool video, minute 30 seconds. Due to copyright restrictions, I do not want to play it on the show. I'll have a link up for you in the show notes. It was over on Ars Technica. They highlighted this at South by and talked about this, but SpaceX has managed to shoot a reusable rocket 24 stories in the air, then land it safely enough so that the rockets may live to fly another day. And they're talking about basically at some point having the reentry vehicle, instead of splashing down in the ocean, be able to actually land back where it came from instead of having to go fish it out of the ocean. So cool stuff. We'll see how this develops over time. But SpaceX emphasized that developing a reusable launch vehicle could reduce space travel cost. Very, very cool. All right, remember Kodak? Yes, they're still business. Kodak lost $1.38 billion this year, nearly twice as much as 2011. That is incredible. But they think they're making progress in their reorganization. They officially declared bankruptcy in January 2012. But 1.38 billion, how fast they fall. I bet you when the first guy came up with a digital camera, the guys at Kodak were like, gosh, this sucks. And they were the actual ones that did it. All right, 2-year anniversary of the disaster in Japan, the Fukushima nuclear disaster is basically upon us and has passed. Again, 2 years ago today, Japan was devastated by eruptions of the land and sea and essentially the nuclear atom. And we know that nearly 20,000 people perished after an earthquake and its tsunami liquefied roads. And so they've made some progress, but a good article over on Business Week with links to a lot of pictures and stuff that you can see on the recovery that they've made in that region. I saw a video yesterday that made me go, a guy found an old TV, and he took the screen out of it, and he's using it as a Fresnel lens. And this is dangerous. I'm just going to tell you, fathers, moms, if your kids ask you if they could tear apart one of the old TVs and they've got the lens out on the back porch and they're trying to do what this guy did, they may burn the house down. So using a Fresnel lens, taking an old rear projection TV, a tinkerer channels the heat of the sun into a 2,000-degree, basically death ray, and melting pennies, frying hot dogs, in an instant. And you'll definitely want to get a little comedy out of this and a little bit of science, too, with the kids. Definitely show off this video, the power of the sun. And pretty incredible what you can do when you focus the energy of the sun very directly. All right, 75% of human skull has been replaced with a 3D printed material. Yes, you heard me right. 75% of a human skull was replaced with 3D printed material. So this is pretty incredible. Now a 75% of patient skulls has been successfully replaced with in an operation that happened on March 4th. The surgery using the method in the first surgery using this new method in the United States has been completed successfully. They've been using this on smaller portions of basically a skull, but this is the first time where nearly the entire cap, the top of the skull, was basically printed and then basically used as a putting down layers to basically replace skull material. And this is pretty cool. And this is going to be living tissue. And I'm telling you, folks, it's not going to be long. It is not going to be long when they're going to be printing human hearts, lungs. This is going to be big. They're doing bone manufacturing processes with this printing type stuff. It's just going to be incredible what's going to come. You're going to need a replacement elbow? No problem. Let me print you one out. This is going to be big. So, and they even talked about the first 3D printed human stem cell. So this thing can go anywhere. Who would have thought that they'd have been able to do this even 5 years ago? So, so it's basically called, the FDA has officially given the go-ahead for use of the OsteoFab patient-specific cranial device. It's the first, they use a I can't even pronounce this, PEKK, is put down in countless layers by the Oxford Performance Material OPM company to create a replacement part that fits perfectly. Unlike metallic materials, this plastic is radiolucent, allowing x-rays to pass through. When the OPSD is in place, doctors will still be able to x-ray the patient. In addition, the OPSD is osteoconductive, so it can work as scaffolding for growth of the patient's own bones. So this is just wow. A link will be out in the show notes. Astrobiologists have discovered fossils in meteorite fragments confirming extraterrestrial life. I don't think this should come as any surprise, but researchers in the UK have found algae-like fossils in meteorite fragments that landed in Sri Lanka last year. And this is the strongest evidence yet of commentary. They call it panspermia, that life on Earth began when a meteorite containing simple organisms landed here billions of years ago. And perhaps more importantly, that there's life elsewhere. Of course there's life elsewhere in the universe. We're not alone out there. It's too big. Okay, now this one's going to gross you out. How many of you lost a tooth? I lost that one. That's a cap. Well, at least it got busted off. It's my front tooth. And when an adult loses a tooth, there's really no hope of growing a new one, right? You have to go get an implant, spend a lot of money. You know, it's like 10 grand. But now, if you've got a mouse around the house with a kidney, you can get a mouse's kidney, you can grow a new tooth. In a new study, researchers injected human gum tissue extracted during oral surgery into the molar of a fetal mice. After giving the cells a week to get used to each other, the scientists implanted what they're calling the chimeric concoction into the protected tissue surrounding kidney of a living mice. There, 20% of the cells developed into an object recognizable as teeth, complete with root structures missing from artificial tooth implants. The next step is to transplant those so-called bioteeth back to human mouse and see if they grow into something that we can chew on. Oh my God. Where do these people come up with this stuff? Who in their right mind would have said, I wonder if we can grow a human tooth in some mouse's kidney? It's incredible. It really is. All right, let me go ahead and get into the emails, and we got a bunch to go through, so I try to go fast. First email is from MS Small Biz. Hey Todd, if they can vote, excuse me, this is in relation to Cardiff University claims meteorite algae fossil. Okay, so basically, this is just what I talked about on this meteorite that had algae fossil. And so he says, if they can show this is not from contamination, they certainly can't deny this is a clean evidence of life outside of Earth. Any high school biology student can tell you those structures are diatoms. So basically, MS Small Biz is saying, how can they prove that they really found this, and this wasn't basically the meteorite hadn't been contaminated before it was examined? So I understand that concept there, MS Small Biz. So I don't know. Maybe it could, but it is a pretty big claim. Got an email here from Robert. He says, hey, Todd. Aloha. Welcome back to Makakilo. He says, the reason I like the show via the audio stream is being able to keep up to date on tech news while multitasking with other things. Thanks a bunch. Listening to GNC for over 7 years now, since around show number 150. Rob in Pittsburgh, spitballs.com. Also, I must apologize. I played my Danica piece on the last show, but because I had the portable studio with you, I was unable to, I forgot to edit it in. So my apologies. And Robert, on your number 2 item in your email, I'll reach out and see what we can get an answer for you. Got an email here from Jim. He said, hey, Todd, look at this website. It allows you to create iOS and Android apps. Check out the video under features. It's not free. It's at shoutem.com, shoutem.com. Thanks, Jim. I'll check that out. So thanks for that. I got an email here from Dale. He says, hey, please enter me in the Roku 3 giveaway. As a longtime listener and insider, I look forward to the podcast and usually listen at work, but I am able to catch a live stream from time to time. I enjoy a different perspective and sometimes opposing views on a variety of subjects regarding technology, space, CES, Blue Men, etc. I also enjoy keeping up on the family issues, as this makes me feel truly as one of the Ohana. Thanks again to you and your team of writers providing this service and content. I don't have time to search for all of the different content that's displayed on your website. Thanks again, Dale, out of California. Got an email here from Jim again. He said, this is interesting. And he talks about a YouTube co-founder planning on launching a rival service. I'll have that link up in the show notes. Already read Dino's comments. Of course, he's the winner of our Roku tonight. Got an email here from Melvin. He says, okay, I think this is the first time I'm writing you, just trying for the Roku 3 box. I've been listening to GNC on and off for many years now. I bought your book back in 2005 or so with the intention of creating my own podcast, but never got around to it. So you asked for what I like and dislike about GNC. Number 1, I keep coming back because you are funny and entertaining, and B, you have some interesting news and advice to share. Show is informing most of the time, about 90% of the time. I like to listen to any news about internet security, copyrights, fair use, Apple, Google, Microsoft, etc. I like your sponsors, even though I never exactly use them. Just wondering now if some of those coded deals apply to transfers of domain names from one neighbor's name server to GoDaddy. I think so. Can't remember. Commercials are usually a big blur for me, even though once upon a time I used to work in advertising. Number 5, I sometimes watch your live video, but most of the time I'm never viewing or watching in real time. Therefore, just downloading and streaming the audio podcast is good enough for me. I used to use iTunes, but today I prefer Google Reader, Blueberry, or Geek News feeds, and lately starting to use Stitcher on my computer and iPod Touch. I'm a big-time Apple guy, but I don't like iTunes forcing download of content of the various podcasts to me. They take up space on the hard drive too much. I think I'm selling in on streaming Google Reader and or Stitcher. I also like the NASA news, anything about space, Virgin Galactic, SpaceX, even Star Wars, my favorite movie of all time. That's the way of Ryan and Melvin. Thanks for the feed. Oh, dislikes. I think a show pushing past 90 minutes is too long. Lately, your road shows have come in a little over an hour, and that is good. A few times I got irked in the past about your dislike Apple, but more recently you have been more fair regarding Apple and their shortcomings. I dislike DRM, nothing to do with your show, but as a principle, I hate it. That's why I do not buy any online movies or ebooks. I like anything is free of DRM. Hooray for Amazon Music and DRM-free iTunes Music. I dislike cable TV. Again, nothing to do with the show, mainly because of the channel bundling and no a la carte. Therefore, after my TV broke in 2011, I cut the cord. I couldn't be happier. I can't watch enough TV content on my computer without even owning a TV, which is my case today. Also, don't subscribe to any paid online TV shows like Netflix or Hulu Plus. I think I get enough free content on a regular Hulu and other online video service without having to subscribe to anything. As a cord cutter, I can say I don't miss what I used to have. We got plenty of DVDs, free streaming content, including network shows, news to keep me up. If I got a Roku box, for sure, I'm going to have to get at least a flat screen TV. Hopefully one of that is affordable that allows me to hook up my Mac, the Roku, and external TV antenna to it without having to swap cables when I watch one or another. Another thing for sure, I ain't ever going back to Oceanic. So Melvin must be here in Hawaii. For any of you cable subscribers, think of cutting cord. You can live without cable if you don't do live sports. If you want live sports, cutting the cord will probably not work. You can call the cable company to tell them you are cutting cord. A good way to avoid having them to persuade you to stay on is simply say, my old TV broke and I'm not buying a new one. Mel in Honolulu. So, wow, we do have some listeners here in Honolulu. Get an email from Sam, one of our longtime listeners of the show. I'm really enjoying being here on Ohana and how you make us feel like your family. I enjoy the Geek News Central podcast because you give your perspective on the tech news. I enjoy your commentaries and rants. Keep it up, Sam in Albuquerque. Got an email from Marvin. He says, hey, Todd, awesome that you get all the news. My suggestion for the show is about your microphone. You have mentioned a mute switch. I wonder if you've tried a script attached to a keyboard key. Google found this page. I wonder if you have tried this already. I am interested in how you approach your business. It helps me understand the psychology of industry. I listen to the show for general knowledge. Thanks. Keep up the great work. And Marvin's out of Bering Springs, Michigan. Yeah, I have to, that's a good idea of having a kill switch. So when I cough on you, I don't cough on you. And so you're interested in how I approach my business. Try to stay on the plus side of the checkbook. But, I talk about my business a lot in like the 24-hour podcast and that type of stuff. Don't want to spend too much time digging in here because it can get a little tedious. But the main thing is, for the business perspective of the show, is definitely bring in more than I spend out and basically keep the family fed and the lights on here. And that's why we're pushing the insider stuff so heavily. A couple bucks a month by all the listeners would really be a game changer. It would really completely change the way we could do the show and everything we did here. It's really, it would be that incredible. To be able to bring on a full-time staff and have, we could do a lot more content just if the revenue was right. Okay, get an email here from William. He said, Ty, I really like when you talk about places you visit and fill us in on your work. I actually like to hear more about exactly what you do as a consultant. I know some info is private to a company, but a general feel for the tech side of what you work on would be cool. Thanks for all your hard work, Axel. And I'll get into some more of that as time goes on. And I understand there's a lot of curiosity on that. Got an email from Steve. He says, hey, love the show. Been listening for years. Keep up the awesome job. First time I heard you sneeze on the podcast. God bless you. Yeah, and last week was like sneeze central, man. I was outside. It was like killing it. And I never sneeze. And I don't know what it was, something in the air or whatever. I actually sneezed once I got back to Hawaii. My wife was like, what's up with you? And I'm like, I don't know. Got an email here from Ross. Hey, Todd, I've been listening to your show since around 2008. I was using the first generation iPod Touch. I listen to your show while walking to work, and your show is freshly downloaded in the Downcast player on my iPhone. As your show is finishing as I am waking up. What I like about your show is all the Toddisms reminds me of a Canadian TV trailer park, guys. Ricky always mixes up his words. Great job, and I'll continue listening. Ross out of St. John's, Newfoundland. And boy, I tell you, it used to be that people would send me all my Toddisms, but you guys are so used to them now, you don't. Got an email here from Jim. Says, I've been listening to your podcast for a long time. You were in the Navy and your kids were little. I have enjoyed listening and now watching you grow your podcast. Yeah, the kids are not little anymore. I got a 16-year-old that's absolutely a terror. Many podcasts have come. This is from Karen. From Darren. Many podcasts have come and gone, but GNC has always been in my loop. I've been a long-time listener from the early days. Have always enjoyed your personal style and the way it stayed real. Waiting for the next show. Your friend Darren. Aloha. Thanks so much, Darren, for that. Got an email here from James. This is not involved the Roku. He says, an Electronic Arts spokesman has claimed SimCity's notorious awful DRM setback are a result of the game being just too gosh darn enjoyable to quit. They said, what we saw was that players were having such a good time they didn't want to leave the game, which kept our servers packed and made it difficult for new players to join, explained senior producer Kip Carcelli on the EA forums. Why didn't they just admit that they weren't ready? Email here from John. He says, out of Louisville, Kentucky, love the show. The tech info is great and informative. You do a great job of giving us a down low on what's going on in a way everyone can understand. What I don't like if the what appears to be a lengthy intro with the sponsors, whatnot. Trust me, that is important, but very important. But I often skip over it and get to the content. It gets so long. I'm sure I researched the best place to insert this very important info, but I'd like to see it salted through the show as opposed to all upfront once. John in Louisville. Thanks, John, for that. I do appreciate the feedback. I got an email here from Henry. Aloha in the morning, Todd. As a longtime listener of the podcast, there are two aspects of I enjoy. The unusual variety of text stories in the podcast can be found nowhere else. The addition of stories about your family adds a personal touch. Since your move from your old Fort Island location, does your son still see the Blue Man? No, but I'm going to tell you, I think he is a little... I think he sees stuff that sometimes no one else can. I think we may have, I don't want to say he's a psychic, but he's definitely more aware and more sensitive to some things. He's a 100% boy, tough, rum, tumble, plays basketball, soccer, and he gives it just as good as in the next one. But when it comes to this peripheral stuff, my wife and I think he has a little bit of a gift. So that being said, no Blue Men here in the new place. Got an email from Kay. Said, Kay, I'm a grandmother with all my grandkids in college now. I've been listening since I had to figure out how to get you on the iPodder aggregator. Now, Juice, I was still working carrying my first of 3 pocket PCs. When you were in the Navy, it reminded me of Brother John, who was also a sailor and electronics guy. I cried when your dad died and filed updates on your niece's health. It's fun to hear your occasional mispronunciations of words. I chuckle and realize that we all do the same sometimes. Now I listen to you on Stitcher Radio, mostly at night. I confess sometimes I fall asleep before you finish. At my advanced age, I'm still interested in gadgets, and I would love to have the new Roku. Thanks for all your faithful good work, Kay. I tell you what, I appreciate that, Kay, and thanks for being here from... you go way back if you were listening when my dad died. Yeah, that was a tough time. It sure was. And just as an update, my niece, sometimes you'll find stuff on her on YouTube, and she's aspiring to be a dancer, and she's got some challenges still ahead in her life, and has had numerous surgeries in the follow-on years. But yeah, considering what she's went through, it's a miracle that she is doing as well as she is. But boy, it seems so long ago, that eventful day. And for those of you that were here, it was on my show 200 anniversary. And there was no show 200 that day. That day I was on an airplane headed back to Michigan to bury my dad. But it was, it was an interesting time for sure. I got an email here from Michael. Say, hey, Ted, I'm listener 2004. What keeps me coming back is your decent round of tech news presented in a not perfectly polished way. Your Toddisms are fun, too. Yes, and I do a great job destroying the English language. Todd, great job on the podcast as always. Don't change a thing, from Joey. Let's see, where else? I think that's it. That's it. If I missed anybody, if someone sent an entry and I didn't get in the stack, I apologize. But that was fun. It was fun to give away a Roku, and I hope. And those are just, those kind of comments really help keep the motivation up here. And I know these, as we go through and do show after show after show, it can become quite repetitive. We're 842 shows in on the show. I'm still excited to get it done, and not get it done, but do the show, and that's the important part. Sometimes it can be a challenge. I've been traveling a great deal over the past 2 or 3 years, and lugging that gear sucks. I mean, it really does. But for the show must go on, right? And so as time goes on, we're just continue to tweak things here and keep rolling forward. But thanks for listening tonight. If you got comments on the show, send me an email, geeknews@gmail.com. Voicemail hotline is 619-342-7365. I think that thing is about done. We may have to cut that thing off. I don't think we get too much action on it anymore. And, of course, you can tweet me at Geek News. It's my pleasure to bring you the show tonight, and we are at an hour and 18. So, yes, we are way long, but I thought it was good to do the giveaway. And, again, congratulations to Dino. Dino, if you're listening to the show, man, send me your mail address, and I will get this ordered right away. So I'll send you an email as well. But if you're listening to the show and I haven't, please follow up with me. But again, Todd Cochran, geeknewscentral.com, geeknews@gmail.com. Take care of our sponsors here, Dine.com, and of course, GoDaddy.com. Your support of them is appreciated and keeps my lights on and keeps us moving forward. We did get the numbers. I got the numbers for February. Had a really good February. Thank you so much. I do appreciate you guys going out there and picking up new products and services and using those codes. It really makes a difference in these tough times. But everyone take care. We thank you so much. We'll see you next time. Aloha.